Alrighty, it's time for this week's vlog. This week's vlog came to me from an incident that happened this week. Here in northern Alabama, it's been rather rainy and a little overcast, much cooler for the past week. And that's led to days where even in the daytime, it's a little overcast and a little dark. I was driving to work the other day, and I was noticing a car coming at me at a distance. And it was a little difficult to pick out in the distance. The way I drive to work, there's a big hill that I go over shortly away from my house. When the roads get wet, of course, the roads get darker. This car was driving down the road, and it had not turned its headlights on. It was a darker vehicle, so it kind of blended in pretty well into the background. And it reminded me that when we're driving down the road, your headlights serve two functions. The first function, the most obvious function, is it allows you to see better. That's when most people turn their headlights on at night because they want to be able to see down the road. It gets a bit problematic if you don't, obviously. But there's a second function for your headlights, and that is to be seen. They're bright. They're easily seen at a distance. And so there's more than one reason to have your headlights on. And I was realizing that if this guy had been driving down the road with his headlights on, he'd be much easier to pick out against the background. Now, of course, the first question that's probably coming to your mind is, that's very interesting, Jeff, but what does that have to do with either the keto diet or mindfulness? And the answer has more to do with the mindfulness side of it. What it has to do with mindfulness is when you're engaging in these practices of happiness and gratitude, it's not just about how it affects you. There's a broader picture to keep in mind while you're working on being grateful, while you're working on increasing your happiness, and that is after a while of doing it, and there's not a set time frame. It's just, but the more you practice, the better you get. The happier you are. There gets to be a point where the happiness is not just making you happier and making you better. The happiness now broadcasts out like your headlights do. It's easier to see at a distance when you have your headlights on. And after a while of being grateful and having gratitude, your happiness becomes more noticeable. And this has the benefit of sharing the happiness. When people see you are happy, I think most people enjoy that. Most people are like, hey, look at that guy. He's real happy. What's he happy about? You know, some people even probably wonder, how can I be that happy? But it starts with you having your headlights on, your happiness on. There are many ways to do that. I covered in the last video maintaining a gratitude journal. If you haven't seen that video, I recommend going back and taking a look at that. Just practicing positivity and mindfulness increases your happiness. You don't necessarily even have to have a journal of gratitude. Just constantly thinking about things that make you grateful, make you happier. Victory logs, another way for that to make you happy. Whatever you're doing that is increasing your happiness will at first benefit you. It allows you to see down the road better, more clearly, more happily. But there also be, after a while doing it, a secondary benefit of allowing people to see it in you. That's my encouragement this week, is for you to practice this mindfulness and this happiness and work harder to get it into your life, because you're not just making yourself better. When you practice this happiness and gratitude over time, you're making everything better. People see it, they become happier. Hopefully they practice happiness and mindfulness, and they move forward and become better people, and they spread. And because there's just no really upper limit on how much happiness the world needs. We have, at times you can see plenty of anger out there. We have plenty of sadness out there. But there's never too much happiness to be had. So keep that in mind throughout this week as you go through the week, that the more you practice this and the better you get, the better you're making others. And the more people are seeing you being happy, the better it is for everybody. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. This one's kind of a shorter one. I was noticing on my analytics that the overall time people are watching isn't quite as long as the videos that I'm doing, so I'm going to try and make the videos a little shorter, see how that goes. As always, if you have any comments on how I can make these videos better, or you have topics you'd like me to discuss, or questions, differences of opinion on these things, by all means leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. This only serves to make things better and happier. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video, and you have a great week.